might be a myth that Yorkshire folk are tight with money, but could you scrimp and save so hard that you had enough to retire before the age of 40? Well, it is possible, according to a growing group of super scrimpers. Wynwyn Evans, who's more big spender than super saver, has been getting some money advice.
This is the life, one long holiday, free to do whatever I want. OK, for me, it's just a dream. I love my job, but there are some people who are actually doing this. Retiring before they're 40 and living their dreams. It's just a case of organising your money.
Do you want to know how you can retire early, even if you still have debt?
It started in America. They call it FIRE.
F-I-R-E, financial independence, retiring early.
Saving frantically and investing so that you have enough money to pack in the day job and live off the interest from your savings.
How do I know? Because I did it.
No matter what age. A crazy American idea? Well, there's a man from Nottingham who's planning to retire at 36. How old are you and what are you doing to move towards financial independence?
So I am 26 years old. I've always kind of known that this is something that I wanted to do even before I could kind of put a name to it.
Chris came across FIRE after he left university with debts and was working in a minimum wage job. He resolved to save £500,000 within 10 years.
I knew that I didn't want to work until I was 60 and then hopefully get a government pension.
He now has a well-paid job in sales. He owns 2 houses, but lives frugally in a tiny flat.
It's all well and good being able to get a lot of money, but if you're throwing it all away, it's not going to do you any good. Whereas for me, whenever I buy something, I'll think to myself, right, that's an hour's work right there. Is that worth 1 hour of me being at work?
Do you ever feel like you're missing out on sort of social events or fun?
Yeah, to a degree, of course. I'll sometimes think that, oh, maybe I could have done this, maybe I could have done that. It's not exactly like I've restricted myself to a significant degree. It just means that I'm not going out and getting a takeaway every week. And, you know, to be honest, I quite like my cooking. Worst case scenario, I go away, I take 10 years off, I blow all my money, I have a great time. I've had 10 years of not working and I'm in the same position as everyone else.
Now, there's a growing UK online community of FIRE fans. 20,000 people a month follow the London-based blog, The Humble Penny.
What I'm really trying to do is help people move from a place of just seeing money as something that just comes in and goes out, but see it as something that they can gain confidence over.
Ken's in his 30s, works in finance, married with 2 kids, and has already hit his financial goal.
Me and my wife try to really move away from the need to spend unnecessarily. For example, we've got 2 boys. When we had the first son, all the stuff he had got handed down to the second son.
If somebody wanted to go on this journey, Ken, and do what you're doing,
yeah.
What are the, say, 3 most important things that you should remember?
Do it because you have very clear reasons why you believe this will change your life. The second that says to learn new skills around how to grow your money. So investing will become something you grow in confidence about and you're able to do as time passes. And finally, that's it. Look at your lifestyle, look at how you're living, look at where you're spending money. People know how much they make each month. They don't know how much they spend because typically your income's from one source. Typically it's from your salary. But the expenses, they're all over the place. But tracking them is one way of almost keeping on top of them.
So this is for the past week. You can see here I bought some ties
on eBay
off eBay for my job essentially. This is lunch. I went out to have lunch. Taxi. I went out to meet a friend there. Had my hair cut, very important. A drink with someone.
So what I would say to that is these various little bits are the things that add up. You know, you can really enjoy life without spending a great deal of money.
You know, I like going out and saying, oh, let's go and have a coffee, or. Yeah. But as you say, when you think about it, it's not really essential. Would anyone like a coffee?
Yes, please. Cappuccino.
Cappuccino.
Black for me.
And a black coffee. Excellent. Oh, sorry, Ken, but these 2 women have spent years helping people manage money. What do you 2 think about the FIRE way of living? Do you think it's realistic?
Seems to me a bit monkish, a bit like taking a vow of poverty. If you haven't got that big discipline behind you, if then it's almost impossible to live like that, because who is not tempted? How do you resist temptation?
What on earth is the point of depriving yourself of every pleasure that there is for 10, 20 years, and then actually you drop dead the day that you start to retire, you know, or...
Because you couldn't afford the food.
Yeah.
There's one thing the FIRE enthusiasts talk about, the 4% rule.
Now, the easiest and fastest way to get an idea of how much money you need to save for retirement is to use something called the 4% rule. Now, what you're going to have to do first is make a decision on how much money you'd like to be able to spend during retirement.
The idea behind the rule is that once you have approximately 25 times your annual expenses in retirement saved, you should be able to retire with reasonable certainty that you could survive until death on your savings.
Lots of advisors like me have settled in on a rule of thumb which says that you can withdraw about 4% of your portfolio on an annual basis during retirement and have a great chance of not outliving your money.
Let's talk about the figures. You're supposed to save 25 times your income. Realistically, is that something that people can do?
I don't know. I just think if you're on 25,000 a year, then yes, do save something, but it's what's achievable.
25 times 25 is 625,000. Almost an impossible figure.
It's back to this balance thing all the time. What's realistic and what will it deliver? If this FIRE thing makes them think about it and says, well, actually, I can put an extra 10 quid a month, 20 quid a month into a pension, then all to the good.
They're going to have frugality till retirement, then frugality after retirement with more time to be frugal in.
Yeah.
And that seems pretty miserable to me.
But what if you're approaching this for different reasons? When I first started looking at this, what grabbed me was the RE part, retiring early. But you know, speaking to people who have actually done it, they seem more interested in the FI, financial independence. Lucy's an Alexander Technique teacher in Sheffield. It's not a highly paid job. She won't be retiring anytime soon, but she turned to FIRE techniques to sort her finances.
I'm a single parent and I had some debt. I'd been kept up at night a bit, sort of thinking, how can I reduce or get rid of the debt?
She followed the advice, tracking her expenses and finding ways to free up money.
I had a flask and so I started using that and taking coffee everywhere or a drink with me. I would take every, lunch or meal if I knew I was going to be working late or going on a train somewhere.
Gradually the debts have cleared.
Paying off the smallest one first is what's recommended in terms of then getting a bit of a psychological boost. So that was quite exciting, I kind of got, ooh.
But then she needed to do a course to develop her Alexander Technique skills. Having the qualification would help increase her income. But how was she to pay for it?
There's no way that I would actually go into debt. I would never put it on a credit card, but I really wanted to do it. So I put out for a lodger. It's meant giving up my bedroom. Yeah, wouldn't be for everybody. But now I've just got my camping mat. I put it on the floor in my teaching room at the end of the day. And in the morning, it just takes me 5 minutes to fold it all away and I'm good to go. One of the main things is that I actually feel a bit more confident and competent in my own ability to look after myself. I've got quite a substantial cushion, so I can pay all my living expenses and bills for 6 months, should I need to, without having to pay, earn another penny.
So, Lucy's on her way, Chris is 10 years off, and Ken's already there. But what's their financial goal?
A lot of people say, well, what are you going to do when you're retired? What are you going to do when you don't need to work anymore? And to be honest, it's whatever I want.
For me, still work, because I think work has a great deal of meaning, and it's not just about wealth, it's having that option to do with your time what you want to do with it.
Feeling like I'm in charge of my money rather than it being in charge of me. I'm definitely able to sleep a bit better at night.